In 2024, a man named Mitchell Hooper won 8 major strongman events. In doing this, he broke multiple world records and rounded out what many consider to be the greatest individual calendar year in the history of the sport. But incredibly, the Canadian, now known affectionately as the Moose, had only been pursuing the sport for around 2 years, something he'd taken up almost on a whim. This is the story of how Mitchell Hooper, almost accidentally, became the strongest man in the world. Hooper never intended to be a strongman, although sports did come naturally to him. In his youth, he played rugby, American football, and swam competitively. And if there'd been a sport that Hooper might have sought a professional career in, it most likely would have been golf. At the age of 14, he travelled to Orlando to spend a summer training with Tiger Woods coach Sean Foley. But when he left school, he began studying for a career in clinical exercise physiology, a medical science that utilises human biology and sports knowledge to help improve exercise and quality of life in disabled and chronically injured people. And in order to better empathise with future patients, he decided to broaden his sporting experiences and seek out some tricky athletic challenges. He competed in a local bodybuilding competition, placing 11th out of 12 in what he still describes as, quote, the hardest thing he's ever done. He tried long-distance running 3 marathons in impressive time. Then he turned to powerlifting, amazingly winning the Australian National Championship in his weight category the same year. And finally, friends recommended that he try the sport of strongman, something that Hooper, a lifelong gym goer, was only vaguely aware of at the time. Now at this point we should probably explain what the sport of strongman is. You see, it's billed as the ultimate sporting test of strength and power. Gigantic athletes compete for points over a number of events in which they push, pull, press, carry, lift, throw and hinge with staggeringly heavy weights in a variety of shapes, volumes and grips. Some of the events are scored on time, some are the total number of repetitions, and some are scored by total distance covered or heaviest individual lift. But the most famous event, and frequently the competition's grand finale, is the Atlas Stones. Athletes are tasked with doubling over to lift 5 increasingly enormous smooth stone boulders all the way from the ground to roughly chest-high plinths. Technically, this is an event scored on time to completion, but very few strongmen will see all 5 stones lifted, with most bowing out at 3. And most of the top strongmen competitors have specific strengths and weaknesses. Some boast greater cardio endurance, explosivity, or general athleticism. Others are renowned for their static strength, or even more specifically, particular lifts and events. Hooper is shorter and lighter than most competitors, an important point that we'll come back to later. Now, after just a brief training period, he competed in and won 4 small local shows. During the COVID-19 lockdown, he voluntarily rescinded his winning submission to an online weightlifting competition without being prompted, when he noticed in a video that his friend took of the effort that he hadn't satisfactorily completed the lift, a fact that wasn't visible from the official video submission. This display of honesty earned Hooper a significant online following and marks the moment that the Moose's journey really began for many current fans. Now, he had planned a move into triathlon, but his new online popularity led to a backup wildcard invitation to the 2022 edition of Strongman's most prestigious competition, World's Strongest Man. Soon enough, one of the competing athletes withdrew with an injury and Hooper's invite became official. Now, just appearing at World's Strongest Man would have made a neat finale to Hooper's spell in the sport. But to the shock of many, the Canadian topped his group stage over the 4-time champion Brian Shaw, who'd won his previous 13 groups in a row. Hooper hadn't expected to make it through the group stage at all, and as a result was unfamiliar with many of the final's exercises and equipment. But he managed to secure an incredible 8th placed overall finish while improvising his technique through several events. Now, because Hooper is shorter and lighter than most strongmen, he's now recognised as the sport's best generalist. He's able to preserve his body and reserve his efforts across the length of a multi-day competition by competing tactically. Aiming for a steady 2nd or 3rd place finish in most events, he often makes deals with fellow competitors to share a draw so that he can rack up points at a conservative pace. And because of that, Hooper often has already won the competition before its final event or is able to secure victory with a minimal effort, lifting just the lightest of the 5 dreaded Atlas Stones. And you see, of the 23 international strongman competitions he's competed in since that first in 2022, he's finished on the podium every single time and won 15 outright, springing him to immediate all-time greatness within the sport. It's quite a bizarre rise, and although its suddenness is partly explained by the COVID-19 lockdown disguising some of his development, it's undeniable that Mitchell Hooper, somewhat unintentionally, became the strongest man in the world in a hugely impressive time frame.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to the best team of sports writers, reporters, and analysts in the world, offering exclusive stories and unrivaled insight. You could try The Athletic for free for 30 days by clicking the link in the description.